welcome to the Magna Carta Sports Podcast. We are your hosts, Chris, Dan, and Rich. Thank you all for joining us on another exciting episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this wherever you are listening. Gentlemen, here to talk about this week in NFL football. Got a couple good matchups. Bills versus the 7-1 Vikings. Probably the quietest kept 7-1 team in recent memory, the Vikings. Also, we were just discussing, the Oakland Raiders. You guys want to, kick it off with their disappointing start to the season?
Yeah, like it's I think the Vegas Raiders are having a bit of identity crisis right now. They obviously don't know what to do. Like it seems like they're I think Derek Carr is kind of realizing he's falls into the Jimmy Garoppolo type of category. Maybe he's a little bit better than Jimmy, but kind of the same idea where he's a point guard that's gonna get everyone the ball. And Davante Adams is a superstar that's like, yo, if four people are on me, throw me the ball. Like Davante is like he's completely different. I remember a few years ago when Dak and Des Bryant were going through their issue, where he ended up getting cut or whatever, like at the end. I think it's kind of going through the similar circumstance right now where Derek Carr is used to being able to have complete say in the offense. And it's a direct clash with what Davante Adams is used to, where Aaron Rodgers, like regardless of what it was, he was throwing the ball to three people. So whether you're open, you're not open, I'm throwing you the ball. I think it's a different situation now with what's the coach name in
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. Yeah, he's showing himself to not be legit. Yeah, but
I think that Derek Carr figured out that he's a game manager, not a real NFL elite quarterback. I think that he has the if not the best wide receiver in the game. And sometimes you gotta realize you gotta throw him open sometimes instead of just trying to wait for him to get open. Davante Adams just creates separation. He just even if he's covered, I think that he goes up and just gets the ball. Honestly,
exactly.
Huge catch radius. So I think that Davante just like realized that Carr's just not it. He's missing Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is missing him.
Yeah,
and you just see them longing for each other. Honestly, because both of the situations was not going the way they thought it would probably go.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like say, like it's never been more obvious two people need each other more than those two. It's just Aaron's personality and Davante's like overall skill set is just like it's high maintenance superstar. Like I don't know if you guys ever felt it, but like when somebody walks in a room that has like that, it's about me. No matter what happens, like you always are aware of where they are because that, you know what I mean, like they're just waiting to be angry about something. I won't say he's a bad team player or anything like that, but he's his own personality. You know what I mean? And when you become a superstar, you look at LeBron, you look at Kobe, they have a little bit extra of maintenance or whatever that comes along with them. So
it's crazy because with like Davante and what's his dude name? Like Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like the opposite of what happened with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Like they separated and they're still both exceeding and celebrating. And as well with Davante and Rodgers is just completely just blowing up. So it's just crazy to see that everyone thought like, oh, with Tyreek Hill and Tua, like Tua's gonna underthrow him and do a lot of stuff like that Mahomes was able to do. And I don't think people thought that Tua was able to do, but Hill is who he is, and he just creates the separation. Tyreek is mind-blowing fast. You just gotta throw it up there to him. He'll go and get it. As well with Mahomes, like he works with like the receivers he has and just makes players better. So there's just a complete different type of separation of what these players are when you give them to other people. Like, some people still excel if they go in different situations. Some people just realize that they should have stayed where they were.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's realizing, like, you look at the talk this week has been about in the NBA has been about, will Luka Doncic had a better career than Kevin Durant, and what happens is that like Luka is able to impact the game differently because the ball is always in his hands. so he can control the pace of the game. He can put people in the right spot, while Kevin Durant is kind of beholden to having a great point guard who can get everything set up. I think so in the same way is in terms of Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is like the ultimate possession receiver. He's like, if you throw him the ball, he's gonna catch it. But he's generally not going to be able to break tackles and stuff like that. While Tyreek Hill is like, you can throw him the ball at the line of scrimmage and he's gonna break three or four tackles and take it deep. So yeah, it's just like his Tyreek Hill's need for a great quarterback is less than Devontae Adams. And I mean, if you have someone who is not completely like almost cocky, like and that's part of it. Like you got to have a quarterback that's cocky. His game end up having a bit of a struggle.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill, like you guys mentioned, he's one of the most exciting athletes overall to watch right now. And that whole Dolphins offense is just really feeding off of him and Tua Tagovailoa. They got speed everywhere to burn. Again, to talk about Tyreek Hill, he's just different. When he catches the football, you can see the defense like holding their breath for a second because you just never know if he makes one move, he's gone. So, and then you add, Jalen Waddle, who's just another, not really as shifty, but probably just as fast in a straight line as Tyreek Hill. I mean, it gets scary, it gets spooky. They're going deep. They're going across the middle. They got Raheem Mostert, another very fast player in the backfield who's been coming on strong the last couple of weeks, coming back from an Achilles injury. So shout out to the Dolphins and what they're doing. Tua Tagovailoa, again, he's not missed a step since coming back from those concussions and stuff like that. They look really scary going forward. They just added Bradley Chubb on defense, another pass rusher. So they look really exciting and dangerous to come the second half of the season. To mention you guys, Oakland starting to have to go back a little bit, but they just really disappointed me for sure this season. I thought they were going to take a big step forward with that addition. So just crazy to see them struggle like that. But another team out west who continues to, just push forward. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they haven't taken a step crazy. Again, like you mentioned, without Tyreek Hill this season, Dan. Patrick Mahomes is just the elite of the elite. As far as quarterbacking and efficiency goes, him and Travis Kelce always on the same page. Third down, it's going to Kelce, and you just never can stop it. So I think the Chiefs and Kansas City, as well as the Bills, it's gonna be fighting it out. It looks like for those three coming down in the AFC.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting from where it came from because at the beginning of the season, many thought that like their division could possibly be one of the best that ever did it. Russell Wilson is, no one has any idea what's going on with that guy's career. It's like he just woke up one day and he completely fell off. And his coaches and every single player they've ever played with is just like just piling on to him like nonstop. What's the dude name?
Sherman,
the coach, huh?
I thought you were talking about Richard Sherman.
Yeah, Richard Sherman. Like every single game, like after he has podcasts, he's just on there smiling. I told y'all. And then their coach, why am I trouble? Yeah, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll. Every press conference, he's like, "It's good. It's good. I got a quarterback who he's like a quarterback who listens and runs the plays that I want to run. And see what happens when that happens, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single play. Sierra's in the back, like, I thought you was a baller. Yeah, this is getting awkward, but you know what I mean, like. Between the Raiders, the Broncos, and then even my Chargers, I've been a big fan of
Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert for the longest, and he got hurt the first week, and he just hasn't really been the same. Yeah, like it's any player. If you end up with broken ribs, like it's obviously not going to be, it's a similar comparison to what you've done in the past. So, we'll see what they can do. I think the Chargers are still having a bit of a decent season right now. We'll see how that overall goes down for them, but things just aren't looking great for that division. Like as you said, like Patrick Mahomes looks like he's playing against JV players every time he goes out to play. So
yeah, man. And in comedic news in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals were on I think the second season they've done in season Hard Knocks in the NFL on HBO. So I was getting a good laugh on there, man. They You know, they were hyping themselves up in practice. DeAndre Hopkins recently came back from a 6-game suspension. They thought they, were ready to turn their season around. And they've just had some difficult losses over the last couple of weeks, and it kind of spilled into frustrations on the sideline between DeAndre Hopkins and end up calling Kyler Murray out at one point, for not getting him the ball when he was wide open. So definitely, coming into the season, they gave Kyler Murray that big contract. So we were expecting, him to continue what he did last season, taking them to the playoffs. So they've kind of gotten off to a really disappointing start as well. So it's just funny to get those behind the scenes looks at them, seeing, what the players saying, when they're going through those difficult times sometimes.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that team, because, like you said, Kyler just signed his extension. DeAndre Hopkins in thought is still like a top 10 wide receiver. You have Zach Ertz, who's there. Like they have a lot of talent. They picked up Hollywood Brown on their team. Like they have a lot of talent. So it's a matter now of like their coach. I think their coach, like outside of last year, hasn't had a winning season in like 6 years. So he's, it's obvious that like he might not be the guy. And that they're having issues. So whether or not they bring in a new coach this coming year, or try to trade Kyler for another quarterback somewhere, but it's just like that there's too much talent on that roster for them to be as uninteresting as they are right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the offseason.
Well, yeah, coach is definitely out after this year. You got him. You got Kyler Murray arguing with the coach. You got Kyler Murray arguing with DeAndre Hopkins. It's just a lot of frustration going on because they all thought they were going to be better than they really were, and just it's not happening. I just think that they need a shakeup. Kyler definitely needs to play a little bit better, and they need to do something because if they keep the team the way it is, I think they're destined to have the same season next year.
Yeah, they did a spotlight on Hard Knocks too on Cliff Kingsbury. And he's like in his brand new mansion that he just bought in Arizona. It's just the nicest place you could imagine. And I'm like, yo, I know these players are thinking, seeing it's like, dude, you don't deserve these millions you got. Like, you haven't done anything. But man, yeah, he had a nice crib, man. Shout out to Cliff Kingsbury. Get yours, bro.
bro. No, go ahead.
You better get ready to sell that.
Another thought. The Indianapolis Colts. What is going on there? They've been on the same thing now for like 3 years. They start off with Phillip Rivers. He ended up retiring. They bring in Carson Wentz. He retires. They bring in Matt Ryan. He's about to retire. And then they fire the coach and then hire some dude who no one in the organization it's cool. Like I say, like no problem for sure. I everyone likes you. You're a cool dude. But you haven't been to training camp. Nobody know who you are. At least basketball is a free flowing thing. You bring someone in, no problem. This dude, you don't know the offense, you don't know anything, and they're about to try to bring him in the middle of the season. Like this is a disaster waiting to happen.
It says a lot about them. They have coaches there already. They have offensive coaches that usually become the head coach after they fire the coach or the quarterback coach. They could have made the defensive coach. Any of these coaches, the dude basically said, "Nah, I don't want none of these coaches. I want our former center to be our head coach."
And our former center, who's a high school coach, is gonna come in. Yeah.
And then the dude is basically just hired his drinking buddy. That's what it was. He hired his drinking buddy, one of his friends, and just said, "Yo, go just chill for the rest of the season. See what we can do." Like they say something about like I like him because he has no fear, and he has no coaching experience. Like, bro, you literally want someone with coaching experience to coach your team. It's kind of like a slap in every other coach's face because just hired a friend to just coach the rest of your team. I honestly think the owner, he's been just shuffling, doing stuff around, throwing things at the wall, hoping to stick. Like they got rid of Wentz for Matt Ryan, and just turned out to be a pretty disastrous thing. Even though Wentz probably would have been bad, but Matt Ryan looks terrible, and then like the running back forgot how to run. Like the team basically forgot how to play. So that thing just looks terrible over there. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. That's that's an interesting, like you said, like that I think the whole idea as well is like the players have to live by the rule of you earn your spot. And then some random dude who has never coached in the NFL, hasn't been in the NFL locker room for since he's retired, just shows up and he's like, "Yo, do what I say." You know what I mean? Like it's not just like stuff like this. It doesn't just hurt your team right now. It hurts free agency. It hurts your coaching searches. People are like, "Yo, like this is dude's a weirdo. Like, well, I'm not coming to play for y'all. Like, what is going on there? You know what I mean?" And then if he decides, if the owner wakes up and he decides that he just wants to clear house, like I don't think anyone is willing to sign their family up to just be subject to such kind of leadership like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I expect they're gonna be a dumpster fire, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's really you mentioned, slap in the face. It's a slap to the whole team, the fan. Like, as players, you always talk about, giving yourself the best chance to win. And like you guys mentioned, like how can that be the best chance if he doesn't know any of what we have going on? Like how can he give us the best chance to win? Is he going to try to implement a whole new system within a couple days before their next game? Like, it's just a weird that we probably never really seen anything like this before, where you hire somebody mid-season who has no coaching experience, who hasn't been a part of the franchise in a decade. Like, you just don't know what's going on over there, man.
Yeah,
it's funny for us to watch, for me at least.
Overall crazy. On to a better story. The Eagles are winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I like that.
My man, what you call it, Jalen Hurts has proven himself. He's like, "Yo, y'all say what y'all want. I'm that dude."
Would you give him a MVP right now?
Would I give him the MVP? I think right now is that if he continues to win out, I think overall his chance of winning the MVP is high. For the most part, people get tired of giving it to Patrick Mahomes every year, and Josh Allen is hurt. So like, yeah, I think that he's a story that people want to finish out. So if he continues on, they finish off 14-3, 15-2 or something like that. I can see him winning the MVP for sure. They've just pulled all the right moves, and it's crazy because all these weird looking coaches that we thought were clowns are proving themselves to be good. Like the coach for the Eagles, the coach for the Dolphins, dudes that look like they've never been around football are just like out coaching and out scheming people left and right now. So it's an interesting process, and we'll see what happens. But the Eagles are just loaded, yo. Like they, between AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they got their mans in the backfield. They picked up old boy from the Bears. Like they're a loaded team that no one really wants to face. They're gonna push you around. Like that's what they do. They score 3 touchdowns and they just run the ball the rest of the game.
Yeah. Good formula.
They look really strong. Again, I've tried to give y'all credit as much as I can so far this season. But yeah, that especially because they're pretty much unstoppable. They've been, when they get in short yardage or goal line situations, just because they run that, I don't even know, triple option or read option, whatever it is, where Hurts can hand it off. He can run it himself, or he can make a quick throw outside. So when they get in those 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, they're pretty much converting it, almost every time. So they've been pretty tough to stop. And then you got AJ Brown, who's been able to be that deep threat and just strong outside receiver. Devontae Smith, you mentioned, has been pretty good in the slot. Yeah, you guys look good, man. Good job.
I would say our only weakness right now is run defense. I think they've given up like bottom 5 and just stopping the run. So they definitely need to improve on that. I think that's our really Achilles heel. If we were to win, we're going to lose to a team that has a very good running back. That's what I think. You're probably not going to outthrow us. You're going to have to beat us on the run. So like a game where we have when we have the Titans going against like Derrick Henry, I think, or Saquon, or maybe even Dallas again, those type of teams we're probably going to lose against to mess up the perfect season.
Yeah, for sure. In your opinion, who do you think is going to be in the NFC East Championship NFC Championship.
I think Eagles and maybe 49ers or Vikings.
Yeah, I like the Niners as well.
Niners are coming on strong lately. Yep.
Yeah, they're like say like they do the same thing every year. Like they're so physical that like in the preseason, most teams don't hit. So their style of play, their players naturally get hurt early, and then by the time week 8, week 9 come on, then they're a serious problem to have. Like you said, like as good as the Eagles are, I'm expecting to be Niners Eagles. But they're the Niners going to push people around, like what I mean, like that's what they do. They live for cold weather games and just show up and punch people in the mouth. So it'd be unfortunate if they get to the Super Bowl again, but like you said, like if Brady isn't showing himself to be a serious human being and Rodgers Rodgers is done, is you know what I mean, like Shanahan looks up and he's like, yo, listen, I had to beat Daniel Jones and you know what I mean, and Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? The Hurts one might be a little bit challenging, but no one takes the Cowboys seriously, and then the Giants aren't really anybody that you really fear. So I think the Niners are, if they can get healthy, they have a good chance in coming down the stretch.
Yeah, but Jimmy G sucks, so that's their key.
He sucks enough to get to the Super Bowl. Like that's his thing. Like he gets the Super Bowl and he's like, oh yeah, I'm not Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. But the NFC East, like, you know, I mean, like Matt Stafford looks like he's like this year is pretty much done for them. So if they're done, they there aren't really anyone else in the NFC that's really particularly better than him. Particularly, like you said, like it's he's probably like the 12th to 14th best quarterback, Jimmy G. And then no one else really. If Brady's not there, if Matt Stafford's not there, yeah, you know what I mean.
Not so fast, my friend. I like your Eagles pick in the championship, but let's not forget again my Seahawks. I know they're way out there. Great North. Come on now.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Like Keyshawn Johnson says it all the time. He's like, I need my quarterback to be 19 for 25, 190 yards, one or two touchdowns in the air, one touchdown on the ground, and that's basically what Geno Smith has become. For the longest time, when Russell Wilson was there, they couldn't run the ball at all. Now all of a sudden, they drafted this dude, I think Walker or whatever, and he just become an absolute star. You know what I mean? I think they have 5 rookies that are starters right now. Like they hit home runs in the draft. So if they can continue doing what they do, they have a good chance. And for sure, if they can get a home game, it's gonna be a serious problem going up there. Geno Smith is a huge guy, yo. Like I don't know if you ever seen like when you look at him, you're like, bro, you look like you're a giant, but his arm is very weak. Like that's that's the only thing. If he could throw the deep ball, I'd say they have a good chance. But
yeah, they've done a good job with the schemes for him. You know, a lot of times when he is throwing, these receivers are just coming wide open. You know, a lot of deceptive routes. So to kind of, complement him not having the strongest arm. So yeah, we've looked tough so far, man. If we get this one out in Germany this week against Brady, the sky is the limit right now, man. We can make a push towards the end of the season.
There's been some chatter about after the season Brady possibly going to the Niners. And a straight up trade for him for Jimmy Garoppolo. That'd be interesting. But yeah, if their wide receivers can get healthy, like they're still having problems with their O-line. I think they've had like 3 guys. The Buccaneers have had like 3 offensive linemen get hurt. Yeah, but I don't know if they ever get a chance to. But this looks like just like a year that's just kind of going to waste. Brady's finna finalize his divorce, so he looks like he's gonna keep playing for another 4 or 5 years. they're gonna have to scrape that guy off the ground. he's
yeah. Dude, being 50 and still playing, man.
Yeah, like bro, like you should hang it up. But because of the position, like he isn't really running anywhere. So as long as he can get people to block him, like yeah, he can stay in the pocket and throw slant routes, for another 4 or 5 years. So interesting to see what happens. For sure.
Before we go, got to shout out the Vikings. They're again in a matchup against the Bills this week at home. Gotten off to a 7-1 start. Only lost to you all's Eagles. But Justin Jefferson, I mean, he, coming off his first 2 years, I was really thinking, can he keep this up like over 1,400 yards each season? And I think he's again already leading the league in receiving yards again, or up in the top 3, whatever it is. He's been dominant again. Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and then Kirk Cousins has done a better job so far. I know the defense has been really good too, but he's kind of lessened his turnovers and interceptions, especially late in games too. Where they're driving for a field goal or driving to extend the lead. So how do you guys think about the Vikings so far, man? I know they're kind of quiet up there in Minnesota, but what do you guys think?
I'm always weary of the Vikings. Like I moved here to Minnesota, I want to say like 6 years ago, and they had the year where for our first year, 2016, right? They start off 5-0 and then lose the next like 7 games. You know what I mean? So Kirk Cousins, we'll see what Kirk can do. The team overall is they've always had a tough defense. I don't know if you guys watched Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is lightning quick. He is unbelievably fast. So they have like I said, that they're built a lot like Seattle, where they run the ball, they make some good plays here and there. I'm looking over at Justin Jefferson is, I think, 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's 5th right now, 867 yards. So he's likely going for another 1,500 receiving yards. Yeah, they're straight up balling right now, and we'll see what they can do. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, like he's been around for a long time. Whether or not he can make some big plays in the playoffs will be the decision on whether or not they're able to go far or not. I think the only real question people have right now is whether Kirk Cousins can do it in prime time.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. He can do all this during the 1 p.m. games, but wait till you put him in prime time. Kirk Cousins disappears, man. So I don't know. I'm really skeptical about that, because he's known to be just disappearing in big games and just throwing the ball up and just throwing interceptions. So I don't know. I don't know how to take Kirk Cousins, really, because you never know what you're really going to get, honestly.
For sure. I was reading right now, overall, when playing in a primetime games, Kirk Cousins has a 10-18 record. So he is not
Yeah, he's not him.
I don't know. I think it could be a little bit different this year. Just again, some of the chemistry, it looks like it's a little better. I've been seeing them on social media after their wins. Kirk Cousins is kind of leading the charge of celebrating. He's wearing, it looks like 50 chains on or something while they're shooting their videos and their team playing. So I think that chemistry might, help build up his confidence. Mm-hmm. He definitely still has to be better in those big matchups, those primetime games for sure. Yeah. But I think I see it could be a little bit different this year potentially. He has that certified number 1 target to throw to when he gets in the third down. They still have Adam Thielen as well. Dalvin Cook again to run the ball, and then the defense again. So I think that'll be, especially it being a kind of a down year too in the NFC as well. I mean, the Eagles are really kind of the only standout team so far in the NFC. So I think they got a pretty good chance, man. It's going to come down to really, I see maybe a matchup with them and the 49ers, and maybe a first round or second round playoff game, if they both can sustain the second half of the season.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy because like the Vikings, like if you look back at their history, they have a great track record of drafting like Hall of Fame level talent. Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Adrian Peterson. With Justin Jefferson looks like he's on that road as well, and Dalvin Cook as well. So they always have talent. They just haven't had the guy particularly at quarterback. They had him 1 year with Brett Favre, and they ended up going to the NFC championship game. So we'll see whether or not Kirk Cousins can make that move this year.
Sir.
All right, fellas. So thank you so much for listening to us here on the Magna Carta Sports Network. We're grateful again for your time and look forward to chatting with you guys next time. Have a good night.
Peace.